it's time for another Speaking Squibbish video. This one's inspired by what I saw at the range yesterday morning. I'm using my crappy smartphone, so the audio and video quality really isn't going to be that good. There really is no point in trying to have any video quality. These videos are for listening. So my son and I went to the range yesterday morning. We hadn't gone to the range together in a long time. Our schedules are never in sync, and they happen to be this weekend. So we took a couple handguns and a couple rifles up there. Had a good time. We were up there for 3 hours. We had a good time. So when we moved from the 50-yard line down to the 10-yard line for the handguns, I went to go hang 2 targets during a target check down at the 10-yard while he pulled our targets off the 50-yard, because there's 20 minutes between target checks. So I go down there, and 41 and 42 don't have any targets on them. Okay, so I hung on 41 and 42. I come walking around to the other side, and I see that Station 41 has an adult sippy cup and some targets setting on it. No guns, no ammunition, no range bag, nothing else. Like somebody just left it there, right? No one there, and I'm not sure what's going on. So I asked the range safety officer, hey, there wasn't a target over here, so I hung one, because we're moving from the 50 down to the 10, but somebody left this stuff here. And he goes, well, then I guess somebody's there. You better go pull your target. So I went over and pulled it off of 41, put 2 on 42, and came around. And then when they said the firing line was clear, or for firing, commence fire, I went down to the 50 yards, started grabbing some stuff, and my son and I brought everything down and set up. Still nobody on target 41, or at station 41. So we're starting to shoot, and he told me about some kid running around the gun range during the last target check, and he was going over the yellow line. There's a yellow line behind all the stations, and when they call ceasefire so everybody can go change targets, you don't cross that yellow line. If you do, you get yelled at. If you get yelled at enough times, you're told to leave the range. The reason they don't let anybody over the yellow line is if you're not over the yellow line, you cannot possibly shoot anybody who's downrange changing a target, because you're nowhere near your guns. All the guns have to be unloaded, and they have to show that they're unloaded. Either the actions are empty, you got a flag safety in there, or they're in a case. And no one is allowed over the yellow line. If you need something from your station, you ask one of the range safety officers, because I think there were like 4 that day. There's usually 2 or more, if they could grab something, because they are allowed to go over the yellow line. Now sometimes we get new people at the range. They're abso-fucking-lutely clueless. We had a bunch that day, and then other people just aren't thinking, okay? Well, this kid got yelled at by the range safety officer over the PA system because he was just zigzagging around over the yellow line, back, across, whatever. No parental supervision. All right, whatever. I never saw the kid, so I don't know, but my son was telling me about it. Okay, whatever. Eventually, after we've run a couple mags through a couple handguns, some guy shows up with a little kid. That's the little kid, Dad. Oh, okay. So he's setting the kid down on his lap, and they're shooting a handgun. I'd say the kid was probably 6 years old, maybe 7. And they're shooting, and the guy is raising his voice to the kid. He's not yelling at the kid, but he's raising his voice. Don't touch the trigger! And he's trying to show him how to shoot. Well, the kid's getting bored with it, so the kid decides he's going to leave and walk away. And what does this guy do? He doesn't tell him to sit on the bench behind, or no, you got to stay here, or, hey, buddy, what are you doing? No, you can't. Nope. He just proceeds to go shoot his handgun and let the kid just run off. This kid could have got snatched up by anybody. And the kid is just running all over the place. And it's not good. At some point, he addresses himself as Uncle Dave. But the kid keeps calling him Dad. So who is he? Is he Dad or is he Uncle Dave? And is Uncle Dave like, you know, the guy that's sleeping with Mom? And Dad really doesn't know? So we're just going to call him Uncle Dave. Maybe he really is the uncle. I don't know. He looks a little bit old to be having a kid this young, but hey, whatever. Okay, Uncle Dave. I don't remember what the kid's name was, but it really doesn't matter for the story. A few times, he walks away, but not to go retrieve the kid. He walks down to the 50-yard line. So does he have stuff set up at 2 stations? You're not supposed to do that at the range unless you're in the middle of changing from one range to another, from a 10, 25, 50, or 100, because you can do that, just like my son and I did, right? So he keeps walking away and leaving his stuff there. But every time he walks away, he looks at me, and he gives me this glare like, don't you steal my stuff. You know, and I've never seen anybody try to steal anybody's guns or ammo there. But whatever. So he really isn't concerned about his kid or his nephew or, I mean, whatever. I didn't go look later to see if there was a van with no windows in the parking lot, you know. But what the hell is going on? So at a later point, he gets the kid to sit on his lap again when they do both eventually come back. And he's raising his voice to him again, which, you know, I don't have a problem with that. How you discipline your kids is how you discipline your kids. There's some people that have a problem with that. If you don't expose young males to authority and adversity, they're going to grow up to be pussies, okay? So I don't have a problem with it. But the thing is, the guy wasn't really spending any time showing the kid safety, showing the kid responsibility, or even holding the kid accountable for the fact that he can't just go running all over the fucking range. So he's raising his voice to him again, saying, don't put your finger on the trigger. At one point, the kid goes, I'm not putting my finger on the trigger. I don't want to do this no more. Okay? Well, this is what you get, dude. This is what you get. So he goes to shoot his gun by himself and let the kid run all over the place. At some point, some other guy shows up. I'm guessing he's his buddy, because he comes in, he brings in his handgun, and they're both shooting in there. Meanwhile, the kid is running all over the fucking place. So now this guy's more interested in hanging out with his bro than he is about watching his nephew or son or abducted child or whatever the fuck this kid is to him, right? Once again, they walk down to the 50-yard line. They come back. At a certain point, they finally left. In the 3 hours we were there, they finally left. I don't know if they left together or what the hell was going on. But that was just weird. When you go to the gun range with a kid, you do not leave them unsupervised. If you are not willing to give up your time shooting a firearm, if you're not willing to keep your eyes on that kid, keep that kid with you all the time, or I don't know, maybe bring another responsible adult with you, you know, like the mom, then it's a family experience. That way at least one of you is with the kid when they get tired, bored, or upset, so that all of you can take turns shooting. Then don't bring a kid to the gun range. This is common sense 101. Maybe that's why he's Uncle Dave. He's childless, right? Hey, I'll take your kid to the range. And mom's thinking, yeah, just get rid of him because I'm sick of being mom. I need a break. Lady, your kid is going to a gun range. Now, granted, our range is very safe, but you don't leave a kid on it. I mean, you're telling me you have no idea how this guy is around your kid? That's irresponsible parenting as well. So if you're going to be dumb enough to let your deadbeat fucking brother-in-law or whatever take your 6 or 7-year-old son to the range without any other additional supervision, you're worse than Uncle Dave. It's just bad parenting altogether. So I don't know if this is just common sense range safety, or this is common sense parenting. But whatever you do, don't be Uncle Dave. Thanks for listening. listening.